Yo, what's going on, guys? Winner Kills here. Welcome back to a brand new Locals feature match. We are in round 3, picking up where we left off with the last set of features that went up. I know I haven't uploaded in like a week, and I apologize for that. I've been extremely busy with a lot of other projects, and I have videos to make. I have videos planned. I just have not had any time to actually edit and upload said videos. So we got a nice little fusion on fusion matchup for you guys today. We've got the tier god himself. That's right, tier god himself on the left, piloting none other than Tearlament, the deck that just absolutely amazes me through all the hits that it's gotten, how good it still is. And yeah, I just love watching my friend Dan play the deck, I gotta admit. Other than that, can't stand it. But if it's my friend Dan milling the absolute stones like we're seeing here, then you know what? It is what it is. So tier cash trying to interrupt the turn here. And of course, typical Tearlament fashion, casual mill 7 on the opponent's turn. I don't know why the deck was cut there in between the tier cash and the not Kelbeck, yeah, Kelbeck mill 5 there. Either way, it was random before he cut. It was random after he cut, so it doesn't matter. But he will get to go ahead and now search off that Tribute Karma for a copy of Tearlament. And then also getting a search off of Soliak as well for a copy of Rhino Heart, Mud Dragon already set up in the graveyard. We can also see DD Crow in the main deck, which kind of makes sense. I think DD Crow is a really strong hand trap. I mean, we saw it. And look, I don't know how publicly I said it, but I've said it countless times leading to this new format. DD Crow was just one of those monsters, one of those hand traps that just popped into my head. I'm like, all right, if Droll's not super popular, like main deck worthy, you know, obviously still could see some play inside. I'm like, DD Crow though, definitely going to be a great card this format for sure. And I mean, what can I say? I mean, that's just my infinite wisdom as a duelist. What can I say? That's I mean, it really is nothing else that I can say other than, you know, take my advice if you'd like. But yeah, DD Crow, pretty crazy match, especially with tier gaining more popularity, not only here in locals obviously, but I mean, we saw again at the YCS in Dortmund lots of tier making it the top 8. Now that Arise Heart is gone, we don't need to worry about our graveyard obviously getting absolutely deleted, so we can mill plenty of cards at our heart's content. And they do have Super Poly here. Super Polymerization. Gonna do the fusion technique that we can't respond to. Getting into the Mud Dragon and also getting to go ahead and resolve the Big Wing here. That's going to go ahead and add a Gazelle and a Chimera Fusion. They're going to go ahead and activate said Chimera Fusion. They're also going to remember to banish the Rhino Heart since it did leave the field after being summoned that way. And they're going to fuse for the Chimera, King of Mythical Beasts, and they're going to go and bring back the sword, the Mirror Sword Knight. So they'll have that available to quick effect tribute to search next turn, and they'll get that casual end phase rip here, milling a Foolish Burial Goods out of the hand, or discarding one. Not the best card to hit, but not the worst. Definitely not bad. They could use that to dump like a Soliak, grab another tier monster, etc., etc. We can also see Tearlament's Grief there in the banish pile. I think Tearlament's Grief is probably still a pretty mainstay card in the tier deck right now. I think I mean, it's literally just E-Telly for Tearlament, which is kind of important considering the fact that obviously all but Rhino Heart, as far as main deck tier monsters are concerned, are limited. So, you know, having access to an E-Telly every now and then is not so bad. But Pearl Rhino is going to come down. We also see some Shadal cards in the main deck here for our tier player. If you guys want to see a Tearlament deck list, I believe it is old format, but I mean, it's still tier, right? Still tier. Tier is tier. You know, besides non-engine, I guess. The profile should be linked up in the top right. It was a top 32 regional list, so if you want to check that out, see my man Dan's Tearlament list. Definitely be worth your while if you're interested. So we're going to see a tier cash at the board, and we're also resolving, I think that was a Merly. Hard to tell, sometimes they look the same. But they're going to go for Grapha, the Overlord of Dark World, whatever the hell it's called. And they're going to go ahead and use Pearl the Rhino to try to clear Rindbrum, and that will delete the Rindbrum successfully, but of course they have access to Rindbrum's graveyard effect because the card not only stops at being a negate plus a bounce, but it also can just bring itself back, or it can just bring back Albaz, which obviously is another form of interruption in itself. And it looks like they do end up negating. Okay, not negating. It looked like they were trying to negate the effect of Rindbrum in the grave, but they are letting it go through, as they're also choosing to banish Albaz and summon Rindbrum instead of the other way around, which I guess fair enough. I mean, if you go for the Albaz play, that's just getting negated frame 1 by the Grapha. Like, there's no way you let that resolve. And you're also losing a card out of your hand because of the Grapha, and then you're also making the opponent discard a card, which, yeah, that just seems... that all seems very, very bad. I think we could probably all agree on that. So just bringing back Rindbrum, I guess, for the extra body is fair enough. And now we're going into the Tearlament's Rule Kalos. The Ruler Kalos has arrived. And we're going to head into the battle phase. And we're going to start swinging. Everything on the Tearlament side is boosted by 500. So a normally 1800 attack Shiren is now 23, attacking over that 1900 attack Muddragon. 3500 Rule Kalos over the 2500 Rindbrum for 1000. And a 3700 Grapha over the 2100 Chimera. So that's 1600 there. And then the Big Wing, I believe, is sitting at 14. To the tier cash is 2800 attack, so that should be another 1400 damage right there. Look at that quick maths coming in at you. And they're also going to use the graveyard effect now of the Chimera to go ahead and banish. To add back, I think it adds back Branded Fusion. Or, no. Did I say Brand Fusion? I meant to say Chimera Fusion. But I think that's Chimera Fusion's own effect that does that. I think it might try to special summon one back, but looks like in response, we're going to see a Shuffler get activated, the Mudora, putting back a Kelbeck, and I assume one of the targets that was for Chimera back into the deck, and I think they also put back like a... either a spell or a trap. But either way, battle phase, continuing on, swinging over, and I believe after all is said and done, they should be dropped down to 3,600 life points. And they essentially have a Solemn Warning. They also have a negate of any monster effect or normal spell or trap. Normal spell or trap. It's all graphic can negate. It cannot negate quick effects, which is kind of important considering the fact that one of the best cards in the Chimera deck is a quick play spell. And they're just gonna go out here with a blaze of glory, try to resolve this Albaz, even though we know it is not resolving with either Rule Kalos or Grapha on board, especially since they're discarding their last card, and whatever that set card was, I guess we just weren't using it. But yeah, as we head into Game 2, reminder guys that we are still doing a fundraiser. The final episode for One Deck One Month and for Noble Knight Act 2 should be going up this week. Hopefully by the end of the week, if I can get all the filming done this week, which fingers crossed that I am able to. But we do have some extra donation incentives playing DDD at locals if we hit 700. If we had $800 raised for the Wild Bird Fund, an amazing nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation organization based out of New York City, doing some great work, especially this time of year with the peak fall migration happening. A lot of rehab and care needed to be provided to some animals, and they're great people over there, and they definitely could use the help, so consider donating to them. And you know, we do have those extra incentives. We've already crushed our goal of 500, and we have 5 incentives to sort of carry out over the next few weeks, months, etc., etc. So definitely consider that donation over there on the right or the bottom of the video, whatever way you're watching it. But yeah, getting back to the game here, we're seeing the basically the standard Chimera branded end board, probably going for the Rindbrum, the Chimera, setting up the Cornfield, the Mere Sword Knight, recurring back the Chimera Fusion, and you know, trying to set up your multiple interruptions there. But DD Crow, we talked about DD Crow, man. That's what I'm saying. This card seems to have implications in almost every matchup this format. We just banished the Chimera Fusion, which is pretty huge because that does turn off a nice interruption on the next turn, going for like Guardian Chimera, which is popping 2. They're drawing 1. They're triggering their effects, right? Huge push for the deck to make. Lots of pluses, lots of interruption. So that DD Crow there, I think, was pretty clutch. And they also lost another card to the Gazelle, or the Chimera rather. So they kind of got hand looped for 2 there, but Tear is one of those decks that I'm not surprised would be able to break the board here with just 4 cards in hand. If there's any deck that can do it, this is definitely one of them. Mirror Sword Knight also quickly tagging out into Big Wing to add 2. Getting a little bit more resources here for the follow-up. So pretty much all we have to worry about is the Mirror Sword Knight. I think there's a Cornfield Engrave plus the Rinbrum. But it looks like they do have Fenrir. And Fenrir effect is just going to get instantly impermed. Fair enough. They also have Ash Blossom in hand, plus the 2 cards that they search. So now it looks like Fenrir is going to just go straight into the battle phase. And they're going to attack over Big Wing Baphomet. And it looks like they have Keldo and Beast and Imperm in hand. Not the greatest opening for our tier player. Probably feeling the lack of tier monsters in a hand like this for sure. Seeing any starter would have been nice. They did not open anything because, you know, we know the other 2 cards were just DD Crow and King of the Swamp. I mean, I guess hitting the King of the Swamp actually was low-key the best hit, now that I think about it, because that could have got them Poly. But then I'm not sure. Well, if Fenrir technically goes through, if it doesn't get imperm, that starts as tier cash, and they have a way to fusion with the polymerization. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good snipe there, unexpectedly. Book of Moon being fired on the Fenrir here to start off our Chimera player's turn. Looks like they've drawn Nibiru for turn. Not the greatest draw for turn here, and it's also Nibiru, not the greatest card against the Tearlament deck. That sometimes it's literally just an extender for the tier deck, or it's just outright getting negated because of Rolcalo. So they're gonna go for the Guardian Chimera here to start things off. It's gonna get hit with an Imperm. That's a pretty huge Imperm considering how many cards they used just to get into that Chimera. What, it's the fusion spell plus 3 additional cards on top of that. They just went 4 cards deep just to get hit by an Imperm. That is that's gotta hurt quite a bit. But they're gonna go battle phase now. Chimera swinging over the Keldo with, I believe, only 1200 attack, and then over the defense position Fenrir. And I'm not really sure what else they'll be able to do here. I mean, our tier player is also kind of low on resources. The Fenrir search did not resolve last turn. They didn't really get to do much of anything. That Imperm putting in a ton of work. They have Beast in hand, and they've drawn a Merly. That is a lifesaver. The one of coming in extremely clutch here, and they're probably wishing they did not discard that Ash. We'll use that Ash for a fusion material card, because now that might come back to bite them quite a bit. I mean, ashing that Merly there would have been huge and definitely would have cost them, or made them pass turn here, but they're able to just start going crazy. Soliak grabbing a Shiren, and then they're also just hitting a Kelbeck because they're just built different, and that's going to just snowball into an Agido, a Havnus, and a Scream. And this is just one of the things about the deck. It's a casino deck. Say what you want about it. It is a casino deck. But I've been talking to my friends so much. Every time we play our buddy Dan, and he just mills, like the way he mills sometimes. You just feel a certain way. You know, you feel like you're being cheated some way, somehow. Like there's just no way this should be happening. Every time they go to pick the cards off the top of the deck, you just wait with bated breath, and you're like, what's gonna be? Am I gonna get absolutely just blasted right here? Is he gonna mill the stones, or is it just gonna be a snooze fest? Is he gonna mill like 2 King of the Swamps and a field spell? Like what's gonna happen? You never know. It's like you just don't know what's gonna happen. But things are certainly happening right now after that Merly top deck into the. Not only did we top deck Merly away to Engine, but we milled Godlike, and now we've gone from having just a Merly on our field to having Grapha, Rhino Heart, and Kaleido Heart. Yeah, that's and they also have Soliak in hand as well. So that's just more interruption on top of that, and yeah, I mean, that's just how things so quickly go from 0 to 100 with this deck. And the deck has also been severely hit on the ban list, which is crazy to think. I don't even want to remember in my head what full power tier was like, because seeing this deck pop off in its state that it's in is just still impressive. But what it did back then is just, oh my goodness, I don't even want to think about it. So it looks like they're going to try to go ahead and use the Chimera effect in the graveyard, and that's just going to proc the Grapha to negate and discard one out of their hand. They're going to discard Beast. Beast effect to draw, picks up a Droll and Lockbird, which is not bad because the Chimera deck does kind of get hurt by Droll a decent amount, depending on how they start, obviously. If you see that Brandon opening in the draw phase, you are going to be a little upset. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and admit defeat. Seeing the writing on the wall there, we're going to see Tier take a 2-0 over Brandon Chimera, and that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members who are Cadillacs, HC8 Cyber, Pony Stark, Misfid, and Green. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very, very generous support of the channel.